for those that perhaps haven't been exposed to the concept of mindfulness, what would
Mhm.
you say it is, and what would your approach be to apply it to business life?
Sure. Mindfulness, I think, has really gotten a bit of popularity over the past few years. I've seen a surge in people like a teacher that I have, Dr. Joe Dispenza, people like Tim Ferriss, who are again quite popularizing the idea of meditation and breath work. You've got the Iceman, what do they call him? Wim Hof, doing the ice baths and people getting into the whole breath work thing. And then you've got a rise as well. I think over the last, I'd say, year and a half, I've also seen a massive rise in people that are interested in things like plant medicine. Everybody's got a shaman nowadays. But for me, mindfulness is just having a level of awareness around more than just what happens in our physical reality. So that means what's happening in our minds, what's happening with our emotional state. For those that want to go a bit deeper down the rabbit hole, what's happening with our spirit or our energy levels also. Now, I believe that when we bring more of ourselves to a situation, we've got more capacity to pull more from that situation. So when we do bring this idea of mindfulness into business, what we're actually doing is bringing all of the big guns, rather than just saying, I'm going to bring my sweat, I'm going to bring my hard work. I'm also going to bring a level of access to more of my mind. So I'm not going to be a slave to my unconscious programs, whether that's self-sabotage, whether that's disbelief, whether that's fears and anxieties and doubts. I'm going to have more confidence. I'm going to have more ability to be more deliberate in the unconscious thoughts that I'm bringing into what I'm doing in my business life. Also, if I'm emotionally more mature, I'm going to be able to deal with my customers better. I'm going to be able to deal with my employees better. I'm also going to have a more holistic life because I'm going to be able to draw boundaries, for example, between how I'm emotionally dealing with things at work and at home. So I'm going to be able to bring more of myself and therefore be more effective. And if I'm more effective, I'm a lot more probable to be more successful.
I can certainly see. I mean, the example that I thought of when you were talking about how to deal with customers and that sort of thing, I can certainly see how complaint handling mindfulness would be a very useful tool. Because my amateur understanding of mindfulness is that you notice your emotions as they're happening, and they're not
Mhm,
necessarily good or bad. You just notice that they're happening,
mhm.
and you choose how to react to them. Is that
Mm.
kind of do you practice it, and is that your interpretation as well?
That's definitely a part of it. I mean, if you look at the work of Eckhart Tolle, who wrote the book The Power of Now, he also wrote The New Earth, but more relevant to our discussion today is The Power of Now. And he talks about really allowing what is without getting caught up in what's happening, becoming the observer. So if I'm the observer, again, I can be more conscious in what I'm doing with what shows up. So when anger comes up, I'm not suppressing the anger, which isn't healthy. I'm noticing, oh, I'm angry now. That gives me the opportunity to make a choice about what I'm going to do with that. I'm going to let it pass through me. Emotional waves don't really last more than 60 to 90 seconds. Everything after that is basically continuing to ride the wave of it. So if I'm angry because somebody said something that's rude, I can take a pause if I'm able to catch that and say, okay, do I want to work with this person? Am I even at fault into leading into this situation where this is coming up? Is there something I can do to make it better? What's in the best interest of me, my business, my health, my employees, the people that are, I can look at it from a place of clarity versus reacting emotionally. Who are you talking to? Ah. So I definitely would say that this noticing is a big part of mindfulness because without awareness, I can't actually bring any mindfulness to anything. I don't have a conscious relationship with what's going on the inside.
Mm. And on a more, I suppose, positive note, if you're, because correct me if I'm wrong, you do some mindset stuff as well.
Yeah,
Would
I
you?
do some of stuff.
So if you have those types of thoughts where maybe you think, I can't do this, or you can notice those sorts of self-imposed limitations as they
Hmm.
arrive and deal with
Hmm.
them appropriately.
Yeah, you can deal with them. And one of the things I think about mindfulness is having mindfulness of my own current limitations so that I can get the right support. Whether that's support in terms of creating physical space, whether it's support in terms of resourcing myself with new learnings, whether it's support in terms of getting some external support in the form of a coach or a mentor, or even someone like a therapist if I've got some deep embedded trauma that's showing up as these mental and emotional responses.
And what are some of the ways that you've applied mindfulness in your business?
I think because of the way that my business is constructed, so my main business is my consulting business, I would say. The work that I do with the writing and the speaking, it's more service for me. I do get paid for it, but I'm not as aggressive with, for example, my pricing models around that as I am around other business interests that I've got. For me, it's being able to create barriers between them two, not allowing the spillover to happen. Another thing that has been really imperative for me around the mindfulness is just how I deal with people on a day-to-day basis. I've got Asperger's. I had a late diagnosis. I was diagnosed when I was 27 years old, and so my natural responses, my natural responses aren't exactly mainstream. So I had to be really mindful in my engagements with people. I can get really bad social anxiety, really bad general anxiety. My mindfulness and spiritual practices have been really supportive in terms of me getting beyond those literal physical limitations in terms of how my brain is wired. So I would say how I show up as a person has been impacted by mindfulness, and that's flowed into how I show up in business.
Mm. I've noticed some of that in relation to just doing my own podcast. So there are some people who don't specifically speak about business, but they speak about personal development, bettering yourself. And if you better yourself, then that'll impact your business. And that's kind of what you mean in relation to mindfulness and how it's impacted your business. Yeah.
I mean, look, Thomas, here's the thing. The person that's doing the business is the person that's doing the business, right? So, yeah, personal development is me who's showing up as the business person, me that's showing up as the salesperson, me that's showing up as the CEO, me that's showing up as the customer service agent. I can't separate the two. Now, some people can do that to a point. They may have their work personality and their home personality, but they have to be conscious of that. The second that they go unconscious, there's opportunity for spillover. And again, that's where mindfulness comes in. Is something spilling over? Am I putting on a facade? Do I want to be able to bring more of myself? Do I even want to be in this business or in this job anyway? When I've got mindfulness, I can ask these questions and actually create a life that doesn't have me as in this cage of discomfort or in this cage of stress or anxiety. I can actually really start to deliberately choose how I don't want to show up without fear of, oh my God, I have to stay in this job that I hate because I'm fearful of what's going to happen. If I've got mindfulness practices that can help me to deal with anxiety, then I can make an expansive choice for myself without dealing with all the negative emotions and stuff that might be holding me back from making that choice.